PvP being added to Zenless Zone Zero is something that I saw on Twitter or X.com a couple of hours ago, posted by Von Zenless here, the master leaker, I guess you could say, for Zenless Zone Zero. Anyways, guys, they are saying that co-op and PvP multiplayer modes will be added soon to Zenless Zone Zero, which honestly I thought we already had some of those already, because like the Bang Boos event we had, that's kind of like a PvP and or co-op event there. So, I meone, like, is it something like an event? Is it a permanent event they're adding to the game? So that's what I want to cover in today's video, guys. What could PvP or a multiplayer game mode look like in Zenless Zone Zero? Really going over that PvP aspect though, because I think there's a couple different implementations that they could use to introduce PvP into Zenless Zone Zero, and I want to go over the 4 implementations that I could think that could happen today, going from the least likely to the most likely. So let's start off with the least likely first, and that is going to be the Eoverse strat, guys. The kata cancel negative edge, whole new concept for Hoyo. It's so new that I don't even have an image to put here. Maybe it would look like, I don't even know what this looks like. Would this look like maybe like what Marvel Super Fight? I think that's the name of it, right? Marvel Super Fight. I think that's the name of it. It's a mobile game, right? Marvel Super Fight for the phone, where you go through and battle your opponents. Like you swipe left, swipe right, and then battle your opponents. Like, would it be something like that, or would it be more technical, like something akin to Street Fighter, like they did their Creator Roundtable already, and then we really get the Kara cancels and everything like that, right? So I don't know necessarily what this is going to look like at the end game. I think this is the least likely because this is a whole new concept for Hoyo, and knowing Hoyoverse, they don't really jump for like new concepts. They like copying other like really successful concepts. Not saying that's a bad thing, but if we take a look at other games that they've had and their events they've had in those games, they've really copy and pasted like some like really popular games, put it into like a miniature form, and then kind of let that release. I don't really think we've seen any fighting game-esque thing inside of any Hoyoverse game that there is. The closest thing we've got to that would probably be the lighter event where we had the side-scrolling stuff, but that's really about it. But that's all that I have to mention on the Eoverse try. I really think this is the least likely, but I guess it is a plausible option to add into the game because they do have ties to Street Fighter, which could maybe lead to that. Number 2, guys, which would be the standard PvP strat. And what do I mean by this? Literally any other gacha game that you play, the PvP that you see in those games, Cookie Run Kingdom, for example, here, or even newer Ethereal Restart here, both of these, Epic 7 even. And what the premise of this is your team autos another team, or your team fights another team, like Cookie Run Kingdom, where your team goes in against another team, another computer of a team, right? And it does like an auto battle against that team. Then you have you PvP versus a comp. Like Ethereal Restart, you technically can have control over what your allies do, or you have the pick system like the other PvP game mode in Ethereal Restart, and you battle like that, right? And then this all culminates to like leaderboard points, whether that be you go through different ranks, but ultimately you're basically on a leaderboard for how many points and or MMR or whatever they call it in the games to get higher rank LP if you play like League of Legends or something like that, right? So you're going to be getting rank over time, heading up a leaderboard by battling other people's defenses, and that's just basically it, right? So that is another strat that I think they could feasibly use. Now, the problem with this strat right here is Zenless Zone Zero is not a turn-based game, so I really don't think we'll see the Ethereal Restart strat here. If anything, I can see it being more so like the Cookie Run Kingdom strat, where you kind of have your team go in and auto-battle the other team, and basically what your allies would do is basically you'd have a ring, right? You have your team over here or their team over there, and basically it would auto control both the teams, and then you would fight with your team versus their team, and then if you can kill them faster, then you would kill them faster. But then you would need to introduce things like CC and stuff like that, which I just don't see as a feasible option for it. So I really don't think this would be the strat either, but this is a very standard PvP approach that most gacha games are able to take use of. So I could see how Hoyoverse would want to implement something like this, just because it is something already that's tried and true and works, and maybe they could implement that. Right now I want to hop into what I think realistically are the number 1 and 2 ways that I think this could work. But before we hop into that, make sure you hit the subscribe button now so you get more updates on Zenless Zone Zero content, and maybe even new gacha content in the future with different games we're playing. Right now I'm currently playing Ethereal Restart, but I don't know if I'll make content on it, just kind of playing on the side right now. But if you guys want to see content like that, then hit the subscribe button now and maybe leave a like on the video. So guys, with that being said, let's hop into the second best option right now, or the second most feasible option in my opinion, which is the leaderboard strat, which is already a tried and true method, or a method that works for another Hoyoverse title, and that's going to be the Honkai Impact, the third method, right? Which honestly I do think this could be added into something like Honkai Star Rail as well, which I don't know why they haven't added something like this, but this is already something that's currently implemented into one of Hoyoverse's titles already that seems to work decently well. And what this is basically you're grinding for best times and best score. It's not really PvP per se. You're battling against other people's scores, but it's not like real PvP. You're not battling against someone else's teams or characters, right? Well, I guess you are in like a different, it's hard to explain, but it's a leaderboard system versus But it's basically just a leaderboard system to see who gets fastest times. And then this is probably the most probable. And the reason I think this is because they could implement this into something like Deadly Assault. And if you guys know what Deadly Assault is basically you have your one main boss, you have your 3 characters that face off against that boss on your team, and basically what you're trying to do is reach your, I think, 20,000 score, if I'm not mistaken, to get your maximum 3-star output here. But what they could do is they could turn this into, okay, so let's say you need to reach a certain threshold to get your maximum rewards, right? Sure, that's fine, where you get your 20,000 points, but they could really implement upon this, just like you see here, score 21,000, basically maximizing that score within the 2 minutes that you're given, and then that places you on this leaderboard here. So whoever gets the highest score would then place higher on this list here. I don't know if they could do it like something like Deadly Assault, because your teams are kind of locked into place with Deadly Assault. I'm not too positive on how it works in Honkai Impact the Third all the way. I don't know if your teams are necessarily locked into place, but I could definitely see this be the approach. The reason I say that is because you would actually have full autonomy over your teams. You're able to play the team the exact way you want to play the team, and the best way to play the team versus an AI taking over the team to get the best possible score overall, right? So you're in control of the build, you're in control of how much you're spending on that team to get a higher score and get your higher damage outputs and stuff like that, and then you're also in control of the strat that you're using to get that highest score. So I feel like this is the best and #1 approach that they would probably take to do this, and that is honestly, I probably feel like the best approach in my opinion. But now we're going to hop into the #1 most probable approach to this, which is the event strat. And this has already kind of been implemented into the game, right? We have the Bang Boos Fall Guys event. And then you have the one from Honkai Impact the Third, which is basically like Marvel Snap, and you can PvP against other people online with this too. We have seen implementations of this in things like Genshin Impact with like kind of the Fall Guys event in there. And we've seen implementations of this as well in things like Honkai Star Rail, where you have like the little bird event where you do like the Candy Crush PvP thing. We've also seen it with like the little cat guys on the rafts in the water as well. Like we've seen it in both of those instances with Honkai or Hoyoverse titles, I guess you could say. So that's why I think it's the most likely. First of all, this doesn't introduce any power creep really, because it's a mini game. There's not really much power creep you get to introduce because you're not really playing with your characters. You're playing with other characters, aka the Bang Boos here, aka just with your cards there, aka with characters the game provides to you already, and everyone can get the same exact thing. Secondly, guys, very party game like this is going to cause the least discourse possible. Also, this is very appealing to casual players, and that's who realistically plays most of the Hoyoverse games that are out right now, right? Like that's the majority of the audience is casual players. PvP, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't appeal to like the more casual audience, right? This is going to appeal to your hardcore gamers. They're going to spend more money on the game so they get higher scores. So this is more so for like whales and people that want to grind more. There's more sweaty players. This is great for them. Games like this is much better for casual players, right? And there's, like I said, not much investment involved. The less investment or less barrier of entry you add to a certain game mode event or PvP system, the more people are going to play it, right? So the best example I can give to you this outside of gacha games is like League of Legends, right? I think a lot of people are too scared to get into League of Legends because there's a lot of upfront information that you need to actually like know how to counter different heroes, know how to counter different team comps, know how to build your team comps, everything like that, versus a game like Call of Duty where you can basically just hop in there and shoot some people, or a game like Marvel Rivals, right, where it has some complexity to it, but at the end of the day everything's pretty easy to play. There is a higher cap there for how good you can play the game, but to me, guys, this is the most probable way they're going to introduce PvP to the game. Not that I like it. I think a leaderboard system would be great, especially if they could add it into things like Honkai Star Rail and also add it into things like Zenless Zone Zero. I think it would help a lot of those long-term players out because they always talk about, oh, Zero Cycle, oh, beat it with under 1 minute, destroy Deadly Assault or beat Shield defense in under 30 seconds on both sides. Yeah, we're fucking winners here. That would give them such an ego boost, and I really think it would help them out and honestly give them some type of claim to be like, oh, well, you're not performing well in the leaderboard system, actually. Because as of right now, honestly, they're in the dumps, guys. I mean, it's pretty down bad for the sweats in these games because they're out here fighting for the fastest Zero Cycle and most efficient Zero Cycle when it does not matter at all. So maybe if you would make that matter a bit more, maybe you could retain some of your older players, but I don't think it would really bring in any new players because of the PvP, right? I just think it adds more longevity to the game because it's something you can endlessly grind and endlessly get better at. Look at speedruns, right? The better you get at speedruns, you can post that speedrun on a leaderboard. Oh, I did better than this. Let's see how we can improve upon that to get a better speedrun time now, right? So I definitely see that this could work for something like any of these games, any of the Hoyoverse games, especially something like Zenless Zone Zero, right? Where you're so in control of everything. Something like Honkai Star Rail, right? Yes, you're in control, but you are in control. You are curating how your character's built, how the character even moves, special combos that you're doing, just everything with the gameplay itself. So that's realistically the approach I think they're going to take. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below though, guys. Do you think they're really going to add PvP into Zenless Zone Zero, or do you not? Let me know your thoughts on the comment section down below if you do think that, or maybe don't think that. If you do though, let me know your thoughts on how you think they can implement PvP, or what your ideas are on that. Maybe we'll make a video on that in the future. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Later, bye-bye.